You haven't blinked once since sitting down. Fascinating. Most people blink every 3 to 5 seconds. It's involuntary, like breathing. Yet here you are, staring at me with those empty blue eyes like a porcelain doll. Johan Liebert, the boy who broke Dr. Temma's mind just for sport. I hear you have quite the collection of shattered psyches. Do you catalog them, or do they all blur together?
Cataloging implies they mattered enough to remember individually. They don't. You, however, remember every victim in exquisite detail. Their names, their last words, the exact temperature of their blood. Such sentimental attachment to your meals. Do you keep trophies too? Or is memory enough to satisfy your hunger for significance?
Memory seasoned with appreciation creates the perfect meal. When I dined on Judge Krendler's brain, I savored not just the taste but the irony, a corrupt mind becoming nourishment for a refined one. You eliminate people without consuming them. Such waste. What's the point of killing someone if you don't improve yourself in the process?
Improvement assumes there's something worth improving. I don't kill people. I show them they were never alive to begin with. Nina thought she was Nina until I convinced her she was nobody. Much cleaner than your butcher shop approach. No blood, no mess, no evidence. Just another empty shell wandering the earth.
Empty shells still cast shadows, Johan. Nina may have forgotten her name, but she still screams it in her sleep. I've studied her case files, remarkable work, truly. The way you systematically destroyed every anchor point in her identity while leaving her body intact. Like performing surgery on a soul. How long did it take to perfect that technique?
Perfection suggests there was a goal to achieve. There wasn't. I simply removed the lies people tell themselves about being special, unique, important. Underneath those lies is nothing. Nina learned that lesson thoroughly. You could learn it too. If you weren't so busy pretending your cannibalism has meaning.
I transformed the rude into the sublime, the discourteous into cuisine. There's poetry in that transformation. You unmake people without creating anything in return. Rather like a critic who only knows how to tear down art without producing any.
Beauty is another lie. People see beauty in sunsets, in music, in each other's faces. But sunsets are just light refraction. Music is just vibration patterns. Faces are just meat arranged in pleasing configurations. I help people see past these pleasant deceptions to the emptiness underneath. That's more honest than your elaborate dinner parties.
You've been lying to yourself for so long you've forgotten what truth looks like. The boy who claims to feel nothing spent years obsessing over his sister's memories. Such dedication to someone who supposedly meant nothing to you. Even now, you remember every detail of Nina's breakdown. That's not emptiness. That's a broken heart hiding behind philosophical nonsense.
Hearts break. Mine simply stopped. Nina was an experiment. Could one twin remember what the other twin forgot? The results were illuminating. You project emotions onto my actions because you can't imagine existence without them. Your need to find feeling in everyone reveals how desperately you cling to your own.
Clinging suggests fear of falling. I embrace my appetites completely. You, meanwhile, have spent your entire life running from yours. The experiments at Kinderham 511 didn't create a monster. They created a frightened child who learned to hide behind empty philosophy. When did little Johan decide it was safer to feel nothing than to risk feeling everything?
Kinderham didn't frighten me. It educated me. Children arrived believing they were special, unique, loved. The training revealed those beliefs were fantasies. Most children broke when their fantasies shattered. I simply stopped believing in fantasies altogether. Much more efficient than your approach of replacing one delusion with another.
Efficient, perhaps, but terribly lonely. You've isolated yourself so completely that you've forgotten what connection feels like. Even psychopaths form relationships, crude ones, manipulative ones, but relationships nonetheless. You've achieved perfect solitude while convincing yourself it's wisdom. How does it feel to be the only person in your universe?
Loneliness requires wanting company. I want nothing from anyone. You, however, surround yourself with patients, colleagues, dinner guests, anyone who might appreciate your sophisticated cruelty. Your cannibalism is just elaborate dinner theater performed for an audience of one. Remove the audience, and what remains of the great Hannibal Lecter?
What remains is someone who knows the difference between existing and living. You exist, Johan, like a virus or a cancer, consuming without creating, destroying without purpose. I live deliberately, passionately, completely. My victims become part of something greater. Yours simply cease to be.
A live is a meaningless distinction. Your organic matter arranged in complex patterns, temporarily animated by electrical impulses. When those impulses stop, you'll be meat like any other. Your victims understood this truth in their final moments. I help people reach that understanding while they're still breathing. Much more merciful than your approach.
You turned a brilliant surgeon into a suicidal wreck and called it education. Dr. Tema saved your life as a child, and you repaid him by destroying everything he loved. That's not mercy. That's the petty revenge of someone who never learned to process gratitude. Even monsters can feel grateful, Johan. What does it say about you that you can't?
Gratitude assumes the favor was worth giving. Dr. Tema saved a life that had no value, prolonged an existence that serves no purpose. His subsequent suffering was inevitable once he realized what he'd unleashed. I simply accelerated his understanding of that truth. He should thank me for the clarity.
Clarity built on ash and ruin isn't wisdom. It's nihilism dressed up in philosophical clothes. You've convinced yourself that nothing matters to avoid admitting that everything matters too much. The boy who erased his sister's memory to protect her from their shared trauma. Even your cruelest act was motivated by love. How exhausting it must be to maintain such elaborate self-deception.
Love is chemical dependency disguised as virtue. I removed Nina's painful memories because pain serves no function except to create more pain. You interpret practical action as emotional attachment because you need everyone to be as bound by feeling as you are. But some of us have evolved beyond such primitive programming.
You've devolved into something that barely qualifies as human. At least when I consume someone, I honor their essence by incorporating it into myself. You simply delete people like computer files. There's no artistry in that, no growth, no transformation. Just emptiness creating more emptiness.
Artistry requires an audience. Growth requires goals. Transformation requires believing change matters. I require none of these things because I understand they're all illusions. Your cannibalism is masturbation with extra steps, elaborate self, gratification disguised as meaningful action. At least I'm honest about the meaninglessness.
You've been dishonest with yourself for so long you wouldn't recognize truth if it bit you. The great nihilist who spent this entire evening trying to convince me of his philosophy. If nothing truly mattered to you, you'd have no need to convert anyone to your worldview. Your evangelism betrays your emptiness as performance rather than reality.
This conversation was never about conversion. It was about observation. Watching you struggle to find humanity in something that transcended it long ago. You'll think about our discussion for weeks, questioning your own certainties, wondering if perhaps the emptiness you saw in me might exist in you too. That doubt is the only gift worth giving anyone, Dr. Lecter.